YouTube was good. It's your boy, Paulus Harris, aka the Crazy Uncle. Hey, guess what? If this is your first time tuning in, go ahead, hit the doggone subscribe button, hit the notification bell every time I post up new content. Uh, Before I actually really get started, right? I would like to actually really take this moment uh, to, my my thoughts and prayers go out to the families here in the central Arkansas area that got hit with that tornado roughly just like a couple of hours ago. But in fact, um, it got close, at least, and when I say close, I'm talking about like the area where I actually, the part of the Little Rock area that I live in. None of us either got hurt or none of our houses were damaged. But I will say that for those of y'all that actually really lost your house, hey, look, my thoughts and prayers go out to you. Hopefully that y'all can actually really make a speedy, a real speedy recovery. I also like to take this time out now to also, hey, guess what? You haven't bought the book? Amazon.com. Type up book by Curtis Harris. Don't pick you up a copyright fast. And the last piece of business before I actually really get on tonight's show. Uh, it is now 10 after 6. So probably like about, yeah, 6 hours and 41 minutes from now, I will actually really turn 50 years old. Uh, for a few minutes, yeah. All right. I will actually really get a chance to turn 50 years old. Uh, I will, I will say, and here's my little pooter pooter right here, right? If y'all can see her. So let me stand up right fast, so y'all can see. This is little Kaisley Ella, right? So she came into the world, into our world, uh, January 30th. So it's been a real good, real big bundle of joy. Uh, this thing came here. So hey, it is what it is. But like I said, uh, I get to turn 30. I mean 30. They like say in about 6 hours and change. Uh, I turned 50, and is it a blessing? You best believe it is. And so for me, it's the only reason why I say that is because um, a lot of people don't get to see 50. A lot of people don't get to see 40, right? Or any age that I've actually really been able to come across, and been able to actually really live it, with no problems, no serious problems. So hey, I will say this much, for that. So hey, it is what it is. And yeah, the baby. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. Sweet, sweet. Hold on. Baby. Yes, you was. Okay, so sorry about that, but in other case, getting ready to turn 50, put it like this. Anytime when you get to see another year, regardless of how old you be, it's always a blessing. It's always Lord have mercy. Everybody want to fucking call now. Yeah.
Hey, Papa.
What?
What you?
I'm doing a show right now. You would want to call. Hi, I'm gonna transfer you to your mama. Hold on. I was like, damn, I ain't never had so many doggone interruptions. But in our case, uh, people, look, tonight's show is gonna be a good one. I'm just actually really waiting on the panel to show up, if indeed they show up. All right, I sent the link out, but just like last night, I actually really did a preview of what we're actually really going to be talking about today. So in either case, this is for the most part what I'm actually really waiting on. It's Friday. I got my tasted beverage, as you can see. I'm actually really waiting to turn 50, and for the most part, I'm hoping to have a fantastic show, right? Just like I say, again, I always like to I always like to have that ability to listen to what other people got to say about it. I mean, great the fact sometimes that we may or may not agree on some of the, on some of the topics, but hey, it's always good to have what I like to call variety. So again, hold on for another minute. Yeah. What? They want to also be the pathway to Texas tomorrow. So she told my grandma, I said, no. I said, Carlos' birthday tomorrow, this Friday. Yeah. He got people coming into my town. I said, tell them no. Yeah. They want to come get you, then they'll come get y'all, but other than that, no. Yeah. So again, hopefully, I got no more interruptions. So for the most part, I'm actually really just waiting on time. I hate, I sincerely hate being an idol. And so basically, it's right now. I feel like that I'm the little, I'm like the little hamster on the wheel, and I'm just running, and ain't shit happening. So, matter of fact, while we wait, let me see if I can actually really invite one more person. He probably ain't gonna show up neither. Okay. All right, we got that done. Got that out the way. And so right now, I'm kind of like just flapping in the wind right now. So let me see what I can do. I guess this is what happens when, when the other people, when they actually really have they shows. And there he is. There he is. What's good?
What is up, big man?
Oh man, listen, I've actually really been waiting on this one. Uh, it's again, it's almost like how I how I felt about this particular show is like when you out in the club or you in the strip club and you see that one bitch that you want to fuck so bad, and and so I've actually like, really been waiting for this one. So I looked up the Ides of March, and I'm just like, wow, okay. So very interesting stuff. So
Pretty
uh,
wild what they're doing,
yeah, and
to
and
say the
so
least. That it almost doesn't give it justice.
I know,
It's more
right?
than wild. I was watching a couple clips in like all the like the I watch some CNN like across the board, CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, to try to get the whole gamut. And these guys, Trump's actual attorney was on Sean Hannity last night,
Uh huh.
and this guy said the rule of law is dead in America. This
Yeah.
is for this district attorney to pursue this
Uh huh.
is insane if you've ever been to New York City in the past, I don't know, 24 months to see the crime and the lawlessness and what's going
Uh
on.
huh.
Really, it's so politically maneuvered, it's obvious. And it's wild amongst the waterfront. I'm sure you got a hot take on it, but it's not a good thing. They always pull this shit out on the weekend. It's
Uh
not a
huh.
good thing.
Yeah. And and then again, it's just like you know, when the whole thing is like, okay, well, what they're actually like really trying to indict him for, right? And I'm looking at it, right, and I'm just like, okay, when hasn't a man paid for pussy? I mean, whether it's directly or indirectly, right?
Mm.
You know, every man, every man has paid for sex, you know, and for the most part, I don't want to hear nobody talking about, oh, well, you got me fucked up. No, jackass, you didn't pay for pussy in some shape or form or fashion, right? It's because I always go back. I mean, like for me, right? My memory, my memory is real good, right? So I go back to certain television shows that I've seen in the past, whether it's television shows, whether it's animated or whether it's actual TV. Um, Hell, shit that I have done, right? Because I mean, put it like this: if you're married, if you're in a relationship, guess what? You're paying for pussy. So whether if you paying rent, buying groceries, or shit, if you paying all of the damn bill for that matter, guess what? You paying for pussy. You know, and now a lot of people might sit up here and say, well, that's to be expected. Well, let me just say this, right? Say if you're not paying rent or if you ain't paying some type of bill, right? Or helping your woman out in some type of way, right? Then don't expect to get listen, don't expect for her to drop the drawers to you.
You
You
just
know,
you I know what you're saying now. This reminds me of a Seinfeld episode. With Seinfeld, it's probably one of the most famous shows all time, worldwide, globally. Period. And they would like have this whole dialogue about, well, I won't give it up until the third date. Well, guess who's you're expected as a man. Well, now people will say this or that. We'll split it. Come on. Overwhelmingly, the man is expected to pay for the dinner, pay for the date, to court the
yeah,
woman, to do this thing. Or how about
uh-huh,
Valentine's Day?
yeah,
I see what you're
yeah,
saying. Yeah, I mean, in a roundabout way, you're exactly right. And it's so hypocritical that they would do this. It's like, listen, if his wife wants to divorce him, that's understandable, I guess. If you guys think he's a scumbag, great. But to put him in handcuffs. Really?
Yeah. But then again, here's the deal, right? If you gonna do that to Trump, right, then you need to do that to everybody in the Senate, in Congress.
You better go get Bill Clinton wherever he's laying down at.
Yeah. Uh, Probably every chief of police, regardless of city and regardless of state, right? Because they didn't pay for anything outside of the relationship, whether it's marriage or you just with somebody. But 9 times out of 10, if you married and say like if you the governor, lieutenant governor, chief of police, hell, the superintendent of the school district, put like this.
How about
If
if you bought a bouquet of flowers or an engagement ring? You paid for it.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's for the most part it's ridiculous. Uh, I mean because it's almost like I tend to look at Trump the same way that I look at Al Capone almost. They couldn't get him on nothing else, right? So they was like, well, let's get him on. Well, he ain't paid his taxes, right? And don't you know that income tax is motherfucking is unconstitutional because it's not a flat rate. Your 10% or your 20%, right? It's not the same as my 10% or my 20%, right? And they just looking at it's 10%, and it's a flat rate. No, the fuck it ain't because it's like the more you make, the more they take, right? And then who's to say what the fuck they doing with the money? Well, those of us that know, right? We already know what the fuck they doing with the money, right? Congress, they'll give themselves a pay raise, and they don't give a shit about nobody else, right? But and then depending on who's the head guy in office, right? They either finna shut down some military installations, which that's another thing I want to talk about because they finna change the name of Fort Hood, and I forget the
For
name.
what?
Because again, all of that stuff that happened back when Trump was in office, right? With the whole, what is that? The righteous boys or the good old boys, whatever the fuck it was. Whenever that riot that happened down there, I want to say
Yeah,
East South
January
Carolina.
6th.
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
Charlottesville. You talking about?
yeah, and so then they were just like, well, we want to take down all of the
Oh, it's named after somebody that they deem inappropriate.
yeah. So
I didn't even know that the history behind the name.
yeah, so basically they want to go and because remember they put like this, they did away with Uncle Ben and they did away with Aunt Jemima, right? Because because they
Yeah,
felt like that was it was too
insensitive.
racial or whatever the fuck
Yeah,
it was. So
racially insensitive. That's what they said.
yeah, uh so again, it is what it is, but I mean, but my whole deal is
They don't have Uncle.
you
They don't have Uncle Ben anymore. Like the company.
now they took it's no more Uncle Ben's rights, or at least they took
What do
his
they call
face.
it now?
I don't know, but I know for at least for right now, they took his face off. Just like they took
I know the Aunt Jemima. I have it in my cupboard right now. It's called like Pearl Mining Company pancakes or something like that.
yeah.
The Pearl Mining Company or something.
Yeah, so they did that and they did away with the Miss Butterworth, right? Because
Really?
yeah, because they said I guess because it was the bottle was shaped like how she was, you
I didn't
know.
even notice. That's subliminal. I didn't even notice that. Damn, I didn't
so
even notice that.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying, I was just saying because when you brought up that, I was saying, oh well, fuck, let me go ahead and and put that little piece out there. And so, but then again, it also goes back. If you actually really want to take it a little deeper than that, it was the main reason why the Washington Redskins are no longer the Washington Redskins. They are now the Washington Commanders because apparently the so-called Native Americans got pissed off behind that logo when it was an actual Native American that gave the name to the owner, Jack Kent Cook at the time. He said, "Hey, look, go with this name." So it was a Native American that gave the owner of the Redskins at the time, "Hey, look, go with this name here." Right?
And to the
So,
day, to today in Tallahassee, Chief Osceola, Florida State Seminoles, they do the whole and it's a literal Seminole tribe that runs the Hard Rock casinos, runs the whole state basically. But they
yeah,
gave them like permission to do that, and they didn't change it. Maybe because the Indian tribe is like actually in the university. But if this is the case with the Redskins, why they bend the knee?
I mean, well, they're like say,
Didn't they, also the Cleveland Indians did the same thing, didn't they?
well, actually, I thought that once they did it with Washington, that I thought that they was actually, because I said it. I'm like, okay, well,
Oh no, they just had to change their logo, right, or
I
something
would
like.
have said,
No, they
okay,
call it
I would
Cleveland.
have said, yeah. So I would have said, well, the Redskins, they got the Redskins. So I said, okay, Cleveland Indians, you're next. Kansas City Chiefs, they probably ain't gonna worry about Kansas because all what they have is the Arrowhead. So, uh, and then the Arrowhead can act like really that could be, that could be like anything, but
Hmm.
then again, if you got somebody dressed up in the actual headdress and the uniform or whatever, then they could be like, okay, well, hey,
Well, they're gonna have to rename within the army. They're gonna have to rename the Chinook, the Apache, all that.
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I just
Do you
think
think? Do you think they'd ever do that in the army?
people, but like this, if they do, it'll be so fucked up because it
The
just
Black
goes,
Hawk, the Chinook,
yeah,
they're all named after. Then the point is like they're not putting them down. They're saying you are such great warriors that we're revering you after this great war machine because you were a war machine. It's not
yeah,
putting you down. It's not a pejorative. It's a big up. So I
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, and I hear you. And trust me, I hear what you're saying, but I mean because they
Wow.
had listen, listen, they had went so far as that they was about to fuck with the old school cartoons, right? They was finna fuck with Elmer Fudd, Pepe Le Pew, uh, Yosemite Sam. Look, they finna fuck with all that shit, right? Talking about it's too sensitive, or I forget what the fuck they said. And I'm just like, okay, you tell the average kid now about Pepe Le Pew, they gonna look at you like, who the fuck you talking about, right? Hell, seriously, you like this. You go out right now and you ask a child right now.
Exactly.
Now think about it. You go out right now. You ask a child right now who Pepe Le Pew is, or Tom and Jerry, or Heckle and Jekyll. They gonna look at you like, who are
The Road
they?
Runner.
Yeah, because this is shit that I grew up on. So
Yeah.
and so here it is. I turned 50 tomorrow, so I'm just like, come on now. Because I give you a prime example.
Half a century.
Yeah, yeah. So
Crossing the milestone.
yeah, I was actually
Still walking the earth.
I have to tell you that I was thinking about it, you know, because just like I said when January hit, and I was like, damn, here it is. I'm about to turn 50. right? And I started thinking about all the stuff that I've done, all the people that I've met, all the people that I've helped out. I mean, everything that I've done up until this point, right? And here it is. I'm about to turn, put it like this, at 12:52 a.m. I will be 50 years old.
Damn, what a
And
ride.
and like I said, it's to 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 have did what I've done, right? And to survive all of that. I mean, yeah, I'm a little fucked up in the head, but hey, I'm finna be 50, right? And I did. And so, but just think about this for a minute, right? I'm finna be 50. So just know 21 out of the 50, I served this country.
Unbelievable.
So
That's wild, isn't it?
yeah, so that within itself
Would
is
you have changed anything, or would you trade it for the world? What?
I wouldn't trade it for shit. I
Hell
really
yeah.
wouldn't.
That's
I
that,
mean,
I
because
was hoping you were going to say that.
no, because the thing about it though is this. Say that I did, and as chances are, me and you wouldn't be having it. Put it like this.
That's
Say if
exactly
I
what I
was
was
to,
getting at. Yeah.
yeah, say if I did, then we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So I enjoy. I put it like this. I have enjoyed my life. I mean, I have my ups and the downs, but who hasn't? You know.
Right.
So I'm just like, you know, why would you want to change that shit up? Like, seriously. I mean, here it is that my wife in there, she talks about me like I'm a motherfucking celebrity when she goes to work, right? And like it's been a couple of times
Which you are.
it's been a couple of times where she's had to go to the hospital and she telling the doctors, she telling all the damn doctors about me. And then so she called me. Hold on. She called me, right? And she said, baby, they want to see you. I'm like, who? The doctors. And I'm like, okay, for what? And because she was like, baby, I told them that you was in the army, you wrote a book, and he finna be 50 years old and he can bench press 300 pounds. And I'm just like,
Damn.
no, you didn't go in there and tell the people all of that. I mean, now,
Now I got to show up with this clout.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now, but then again, let's not get it twisted. I can't listen. And well, let's just know that I can clear 315 right now. With
Damn.
no problem.
At half a century. Think about that. That's
Yeah, exactly.
remarkable.
So,
That's less than one. I guarantee you the percentage of people on the planet that can do that. The number is so minuscule. It was surprising.
yeah. So it's not
Hell,
like
at
that.
30, at 40, it would probably be
Yeah.
minuscule.
It's not that I can't do it because I can, but it's just for the simple fact that the love that my wife has for me is like it's more than what I can actually really ever imagine to be. I mean,
That's
I mean, great
wonderful.
the fact. I mean, great the fact we've been knowing each other since we were kids, right?
Right.
But it's
It
just for
came
the
full
simple fact for
circle.
her, for her to actually like really to speak, that highly of me, whether it's at work or whether it's at the hospital or whatever, for her to actually really say that, it it does a lot for your psyche. I'm not even gonna bullshit you in line and say that it doesn't. But I'm just
It
like,
absolutely would.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm just
it
like,
absolutely would, man.
yeah. But for me, right, I just look at myself hey, look, I, I did what I needed to do. To, like I said, I served my country. I try to stay in shape as much as possible. I tried to help out people the best way that I could while I was in. And even now, if I can if I can help you out, then you can best believe that's what the fuck I'm gonna do. So, but it's just one of those things, that I can, you know, I stop and look at it, and I'm just like, well, damn, okay, I did all of this, and to because and to do that and write a book about my career, right? You know, uh, hell, it speaks volumes. It does, right? And I'm not just saying this to be like, oh, look at me, right? Because it ain't about like, because it ain't about that. You get where I'm going with this? So I'm just like,
No, absolutely.
yeah,
But the point is, like, it needs to be documented. People need to, whether they're going through it or not going through it, it should be explored to see like what occurred. How did we get here? Who is this individual? Because we're all part of this thing, and you've had a remarkable life. And I don't mean that to say like your life's over. You're just getting started. But I mean like to this point, it has been a remarkable journey. And no, I completely get what you're saying.
yeah. So, but in our case,
Time to get down to business.
yeah, but to get back to this whole going to jail because you paid for some pussy, you know. And so my whole deal is because it's got to be something else that's going on, and considering the type of person that Trump is, right? And I don't know if you actually really saw that clip that I sent you, right? Because Chris Rock, because he came out and said it, and he was like, y'all gonna arrest this man for what? It ain't gonna do nothing but make him that much popular, right? It's gonna be like, okay, you do this to him, and then come to find out that it's bullshit. Then he turn around and win, right? And it's gonna be like, okay, so it's almost like, okay, what did y'all accomplish? Or it could be something like maybe they trying to hurry up. Maybe I'm looking at the simple fact. Okay, well, maybe they got something in the works, right? And they say, well, okay, well, if we put Trump away, right, and we put him away long enough that even if he decided to run, it'll be too late, and then we can go ahead and put whatever the fuck that we was gonna put in place, because I feel like that if anybody that was gonna say hell no to it, it would be Trump. You know, Everybody else would actually really go along with it. You know,
What's interesting is the timing because they've had all this information forever. So the
yeah,
only thing that concerns me is because this is a non-crime, like this is a non-criminal issue. It's they're tying it into campaign reform federally. So I wonder if they picked a certain date based on the election and stuff that's going on. Like they wanted to wait to play that hand. Like you're playing Uno, you're waiting to put down that that blue eight or whatever. It's like because it's a non-crime and the limitations legally have ran out, and then
yeah,
they grandfather the law into it, which is odd. But I wonder, like through like the federal elections committee, um, if there's something going on there through the election board. But I just don't understand what they're doing. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me because And the fact that it doesn't make sense to me, but they're going through with it and all they have the same talking points, it's a coordinated effort. So they have something. Maybe it's not like some big piece of information, but maybe it was done strategically, and that concerns me because if that's the case, that's a sad day for this country.
Yeah, but but then I think to go off what you just said, right? Because there's a lot of people that love Donald Trump, and then there's a lot of motherfuckers that can't stand his ass.
Right.
Down low Hughley is one of them, right? And and he is like
Never heard
I
that.
swear he is like the biggest crybaby that's about to turn 60 or however old he's about to turn. He is like about the biggest crybaby ever. I mean, anything. I mean, it just. I mean, because he was one of the main ones that was hollering about. Well, if Trump get elected president, then I'm gonna leave. Well, Trump got elected president, and that bitch is still here. So that just goes to show you, right? That yeah, you talk a
Where the
good
fuck is
game.
he gonna go? Where are you gonna
Yeah,
go?
don't exactly, right? I'm just like, yeah, you talk a good game, but when Trump said, "Hey, I'm president," then you should have packed up your shit and left, right? You got money, right? Pick up, and so and that don't mean carry your
You
ass
know who
to
said the same? You know who said the same shit that broke my heart?
what's that?
George Clooney. I love this motherfucker as an actor. Like he has, I've seen so many great acting roles that this dude has been in, and he was spouting off some bullshit, almost propaganda about him. He's part of the compilation. I went like election night, and he was out there moving and shaking about anti-Trump shit, and I'm leaving, and he'll never be
But then
president.
again, but you know what? I tell
And
you,
here he is.
yeah, I tell you somebody else. I can tell you at least two more people that said that if he got elected, that they was gonna lead the country. George Lopez and Samuel
Oh
Jackson.
yeah.
And
Oh
then
fuck.
I think Spike Lee, he threw his little 2 cents in, right?
Yeah.
But
And they are little.
but the thing about it though is this: he was president, and they stayed, right? So I'm just like, don't talk shit, and then when it's time to back it up, then you be like, well, where am I gonna go, right? Don't say it if you ain't actually really ready. If you're not gonna actually really back it up, right? I mean, because I tend to look at it since well hell since Kennedy, right? You know what president has done more for this country than Trump?
The
Because
most.
because the thing about it though is this: Trump was never Trump was never a politician. Trump was a businessman. Trump brought a lot of companies back over here, you know. So I'm just like, and shit, Trump put money in your pocket, but for whatever reason, y'all pissed off at this motherfucker, right? But the motherfucker before him, Barack Obama, Barack Hussein Obama, who married a man, gave us transgender laws, which went into motherfuckers being which caused transgenders to go into sports because you couldn't do it as a man. So, oh, I'm gonna identify as a woman and I'm gonna break every record possible, right? So I'm just like, but y'all love that motherfucker though, and so I'm just like, okay, got it. Fuck games as usual, right? So and so for me, right, for those of us that can actually really see it for what it is, we know that it's bullshit, right? And then, and I'm almost willing to bet that the average American, right, they looking at this shit and they like, you know what, that's bullshit, right? Because again, it's like what we said at the top of the show. Tell me one man that hasn't paid for pussy, right? I mean, let's be real here. Tell me one man that hasn't paid for pussy in some shape or form about it, right? And so y'all finna send this motherfucker to jail. Why? Because he's president? That's bullshit, right? Because who's to say what? Ain't no telling what the fuck goes on behind closed doors, right? Because again, that senator, right? That doggone was out there on the beach, and she doing it, yeah, and she doing the head. What is it? No, you don't. We talk about some serious stuff in here. So if you gonna come in here, say hey, and then clear out, you know. So, so in either case, because I know you saw that. Yeah, I know you saw that clip where she was a young New York senator, and she out there on the beach, and she did a head. She stood on her head, did a head a twerk.
Are you talking about AOC?
Yeah, that one black. Look, you can't stay in here long now.
Oh, the black. No, no, no. I don't know the name, but I know what you're talking. I understand what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was out there because she ran for Senate.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I remember.
She ran for Senate, and then her term had run out, and so
right.
she went out there on the beach. She had a little bikini on, and she stood on her
Right,
head.
right. I remember. Yeah, yeah.
Whatever. And so she like, hey, vote for me for senator, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it was
Yeah, I
like
remember that.
Yeah,
the news cycle is so fast you forget all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. So, so again, if she did that, then we don't want to talk about what they do out there in California.
Oh,
out
yeah.
there,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again,
We'll keep it PG for now, but yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I feel you. Yeah.
So again, right? So like I said, so let's be real, right? So Trump paid for some pussy. So he fucked the former porn star. Okay, so I'm just like, and so I'm like, and your point is, just like with that shit with Brett Favre, right? They say that he stole like $5 million in food stamp money, right? From the state of Mississippi. And everybody was mad about it, right? And so for me, right, I looked at, okay, so again, I just say, so let me get this straight, right? Y'all mad at one motherfucker that stole $5 million, right? When all of them bastards in motherfucking Congress and in the Senate, they stealing billions.
But isn't it interesting the way they write that headline? Because there's two different ways you could write that. 5 million of food stamp money. No, what it is 5 million that could have been allocated to food stamp money. It could have been allocated for porta potties. It could have been allocated for painting lines on the street. It could have been. You could have written that a million ways. But what you decided to do was write the most scathing narrative possible, because this is a political tactic that is genius. Quite frankly, if I was going after Brett Favre, I'd write it the same way. Hell, I'd write it the same exact way. However, if you wanted to be fair and just, you might want to just say, I would say, wasted resources of the municipal budget. That's how you could have written it, right?
Yeah. And then, just like I say, everybody,
And I
everybody
don't
was
know nothing
mad.
about the Brett Favre thing, but I looked into it a little bit because a local radio guy who I talked to down here, Bubba Love Sponge, um, he's a huge Green Bay Packers fan, and he had like this big interview with Brett Favre, and they were talking about it. I listen to him in the morning sometimes, and he was covering it, and he's like, "Really?" He's like, "What was it?" It's like for his daughter's volleyball team, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so let me get this straight. So some city councilors allowed him to utilize. They were starstruck. They got the celebrity rub, and they allowed him to have some influence and say, "Hey, my daughter plays volleyball, and they want a new volleyball court. Oh, we can make that happen, Brett." And they're just a bunch of fanboys.
Uh-huh.
And guess what? They got it done. And somebody
Yeah.
sniffed it out. Some Karen sniffed it right on down to zero, which, quite
Uh-huh.
frankly, it's probably inappropriate. I'm not defending him. But the way the
Yeah.
media ran with it, it's like, really? You're going to do this to Brett Favre? Really?
Yeah. So, and
He might be on pills again. Nobody knows what's going on.
yeah, I know, right? So, and so,
If I
uh,
was him, I'd just say, I'm on pills again. I can't handle it.
yeah. So then, so
I got 245 concussions. I don't know what happened. I'm on Oxycontin, and I got hit in the head too. Warren Sapp planted me in the ground, and I haven't been the same since. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. So, so I gotta ask you this. I gotta ask you this um, because me and Smoke we talked about this, and you know, what happened at the Grammys with Russell Wilson and Sierra, right?
No, I'm unaware. Is this recent?
Yeah, it was at the Grammys, right?
Yeah, I'm unaware of it.
Yeah, no, she actually like really. She let's just say she put like this. You say this right here is like you butt naked, right?
Uh,
And this is like what she had on. So she
gotcha.
so she literally showed up at the Grammys butt naked. She had she had like a it was like a let's just say it was a see-through poncho, right?
Yeah,
And she
I
had
got you.
enough to cover up her nipples and the front piece.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Mm.
And Russell Wilson looking like a little lost puppy.
And he's Mr. Nice Guy, right?
Yeah, so I'm just like,
Don't. When he's in Seattle, I said, don't play Future in the stadium.
yeah,
Yeah.
so Smoot, she asked me, right? She said, well, would you let your wife come out the house looking like that? So I told Smoot, I'm like, first and foremost, my wife cannot go in the store and even think about buying some shit like that, right? And it's just for the simple fact, it ain't about what I say. It's about how you carry yourself as a woman. This is your husband. And it's just for the simple fact that you come out the house looking like that. So now, if he'd allowed it, then you got to be like, well, okay, he allowed it, but then again, it goes to be like, okay, well, who really has the say so in that household, right?
Her.
You exactly right. So I'm just like,
Let me tell you something. This is some cuckold shit. Listen to me. She's one
uh-huh,
of these women that's running the household, who's rich as fuck, obviously famous, and told her quote unquote stylist, "Hey, this what we're gonna wear. This what we're gonna do." And then when Russ says this or this, I'm concerned with this. Like, no, babe, this is a contract. This is how they're dressing me. This is not my choice. Yeah, you
yeah,
belong to the streets, bitch. You're talking to a man. Go do that shit in Saudi Arabia. Go do that shit in Morocco. Good luck.
yeah. So
I
that's
have a very different opinion. I'm a man who's been to a strip club who comes from an Arab country. I have very two good points of view on it. I get it, but when it comes to your actual wife, not your side piece, not something you're messing around with, not something you're not sure about, your wife, you're sending a clear signal to everybody around the planet, and it's obvious.
yeah. And so again, like I said, and
Sierra's running that household,
and and then again,
Just like Jada's running Will. Same
yeah,
shit.
and it's just like we actually like when it
Careful,
comes,
Russell might slap somebody at that award show. You know what I'm saying?
and then it was again it was pretty much like we started talking about like when you go to the gym and some of these women they wear this tight skimpy shit, right?
Yeah.
And then once you look at them, then they mad because what you looking at me for? I'm like, well, bitch, look at what the fuck you got on, right? So because like the gym that I go to, it's this one woman she'll come in there, right, and she'll have a sweater on, right, and I let's just say this, put like this, she's, I mean, she's put like this, the work in the gym has paid off. Let's just say that much. So, but the thing about though is this: you gonna come in there with a sweater on, and you got your little spandex pants on, and then the first time you think somebody looking, okay, you take your sweater off and you wrap it around your waist. And so it's like, well, how about you just come in here with some loose clothes on, and you ain't got that problem. And then it's just for the simple fact that it's
Just
certain
normal
machines,
clothes.
huh?
Just normal clothes. They sell athletic wear for women that are like they're fashionable, they're normal, but there's when you get to this, the Lululemon, this spandex shit, they know what they're doing.
Yeah. And then
They know
and
what they're
then
doing, and then they go home to a house where they're married. It's like, really?
yeah.
You're a
And
stay-at-home
then
mom doing this?
yeah. And then there's certain machines. It's this one machine in the gym that it's like a squat almost, but
Yeah,
it
yeah,
ain't,
yeah. I know what
you
you're
know.
talking about.
And so when the men get on it, hold on, listen, hear me out, because you already know where the fuck I'm going with this.
Be
When,
careful. This is live. Be careful.
so listen. So when the men get on it, they get on it like this, and they unhook it, and then they come down, come up, come down, come up. But
Right.
every female that get on that same machine, right? They make sure that their ass is like where everybody can see,
Yeah.
right? And I'm just like, and so for me, right, I'm just like, so I went and I looked at the machine. I'm like, okay, how the hell are you actually really supposed to do this exercise, right? Because the men listen, because listen, because the men
you,
doing it
you couldn't
one way,
understand after that demonstration. You
yeah,
you were perplexed.
yeah. So the men do it one way, and the women do it the other way. So I get up there, I'm like, so because at this point of the junction, curiosity is killing the cat like no like it's nobody's business, right? So I went up there and I looked at how you supposed to do it. And guess what? The men doing it like how it's supposed to be done, right?
Imagine that.
And so I'm just like, okay, I got it, you know. And then it's so I'm just like wow, really, right? But the thing about it though is this: the first time that, and don't nobody say nothing, right? Because just like I said, the majority of the people in there are married, right? And I mean, because like I'm married, and then
Not for long. I'm just playing.
you know, and then the couple of guys that I talk to while I'm in there, they married, so we just sit back and we laugh at the shit, right? Because I'm just like, because it's almost like, because when you do that, that's like going fishing almost. Yeah,
Yeah.
you may have the bait to catch a motherfucker, right? You may want the big bass, but you may catch, what is that, crappie, or them little bitty small ass fish, and then you get pissed off.
Bluegill.
Yeah, and and then you get pissed off, and I was like, well, hey, ain't nobody trying to pay that much of attention to you, bitch. We in the gym, right?
A public space, by the way.
so I'm just like, come on now, so it is
Yeah.
what it is, but
It's a whole different culture. Anyhow,
yeah, it
we
is,
got
it is.
about we got about uh we got about 15 more minutes before I have
Okay,
to go eat dinner.
all
And
right,
then
so
I'm
let me tell
I'm
you,
glad
so
to do this over and over because I've been missing out. I've been sick as hell. But
yeah,
I'm getting better now. But
so
let's get into the
so
hard hitting subjects.
so
Because first of all, I like the cultural stuff too because this social stuff that's going on is
yeah,
important. It's relevant to what's going on in society, and
uh,
it's always good to catch up and talk. But let's get to the hard hitting,
okay, then,
subjects. What's on your mind? What's a burning desire of yours that's been like you've been thinking about?
well, for me, right, I have to talk about, this shooting that happened down in Tennessee at this school, right?
Oh man,
And the the number 33 was so irrelevant in this, that anybody that really don't really look at it that way, they could have like caught on and been like, you know what, this is bullshit, because if you look at the address was 33 Burton Hills Boulevard, right? And the school employed 33 teachers, right? And so it was shot and killed. It was six adults and three kids. All three kids were 9 years old. All three were 9 years old. And the three adults that got killed were 60. One was 60, and the other two were 61 years of age. And so I'm just like, wow, really? And then the thing about it was this: they had cameras around the school. So my thing is that they saw this woman pulling up into the drive in on the parking lot, right? Because they identified the car. So I'm just like, okay, so you didn't see this female that's 28 years old that went to the school. She was a prior student there. So my whole deal is, I'm like, so with in you a child in elementary school. So you either finna be 9, 10, 11, 12. So you gonna wait that damn long to go back to a school, and you decide you want to shoot up everybody. And so I'm not, because listen, I ain't got no money, so you can't scoot the fuck out of me, right? But my whole deal is, I'm like, these motherfuckers that got, listen, they done got so motherfucking sloppy with the word good, it's ridiculous. It's almost like with the Donald Trump case, you know, and it's just for the simple fact that they put all these laws into place. They're like, okay, well, we gonna ban assault weapons. They've been talking about this shit ever since 1994. We gonna put a ban on assault weapons. We gonna put a ban on assault weapons. We gonna put a ban on assault weapons. But people still get motherfucking assault weapons. I mean, because let's actually really stop and think about this for a minute. If you put a ban on assault weapons, so we use motherfucking assault weapons. Okay? Or we did. So
Right.
So I'm just like, so if you do that, I mean, it's almost like, okay, well, who you gonna hurt in the long run, right? Because you can't. I mean, now it's easy to say, well, hey, look, if you're not in law enforcement or if you ain't wearing a uniform, then you can't get assault weapons. But then we all know, listen, we all know that it's crooked cops. We all know that it's crooked people in the armed forces, regardless of branch. So these weapons are actually really going to get out, regardless of what ban that you put on them. So, so for me, right, the thing that really pisses me off is that every time when you hear something like this, and they keep saying, "Oh, we gonna do something about it. We gonna do something about it. We gonna do something about it." You ain't did shit since '94, or you've been talking about this shit since '94, right? This is 2023, and I'm just like, okay, it's almost like, okay, damn it, we still haven't learned, or have we, and or have they? And they allow this shit to happen. Because the thing about it was this: if you really want to put an end to school shooting, and I'm like, hell, I'll volunteer for this, right? Let's make the school safe. Listen, let's make the school safe. So those of us that ain't too fucked up in the head, right? If those of us that ain't too fucked up in the head, right? Let us protect the schools. So
I said this to my friend who used to be a law enforcement officer who prior army, couple deployments, blah blah blah. We grew up together, and I forgot which shooting it was. It might have been Sandy Hook or one of those things. And Parkland, there's so many. I have no idea which one it was, but I said they should have a program where forget the SRO officer. You could have the SRO officer for local law enforcement if there's just a fight in the courtyard or whatever it is, drugs, blah blah blah. But the security aspect, there could be a federal program. They have so many federal grants, so many federal this or that, so many billions of dollars allocated to legitimate, exactly like you said, in such an elegant way. Who to the ones who aren't so fucked up in the head, it could be a legitimate job where returning veterans. How do you reintegrate these individuals into society? How about they're in their own communities? How about they're at the schools? How about they provide security? And I guarantee you, if you had two, we'll call them roaming guards with some sort of surveillance, which all the schools have now, um, this is non-existent. We don't need a 14-minute, which first of all, those cops, regardless of what occurred there in Nashville, the response time was almost drill-like, and it was very quick. And I don't want to say it like it's a conspiracy, but like they were on their shit. And if they happen to be on the ground, how much quicker would it have been? 30 seconds. First of all, who's this car pulling up? It's a checkpoint. Who's this? Okay. Literally.
Yeah.
Like it's not happening.
Yeah. I mean, because
there's a way to make that happen to the VA as well.
Yeah, you can do it
It's
because
possible they'd have to pass it through Congress or something like that. But
yeah,
there, think about how many
but you,
returning veterans there are, how many capable gun owners. Oh, I just think it would be, it's a way to one, create jobs, two, protect schools, and three, help integrate a certain population of individuals who have happened to serve. In there's schools everywhere in America where people
uh,
live. So I don't understand the
well,
like at the recruiting station. Let me ask you something: is there a recruiting station everywhere in America?
damn near, as far as I know.
Okay, so a part of that recruiting station, that's where they kind of check in and get their check in and do shit. But for the most part, they work with the school board. The school board works in conjunction with the Department of Defense via these recruiting stations, wherever you happen to live in anywhere in America. And this problem's fixed almost overnight. But they don't want to do that. They don't want a good crisis to go to waste because they don't want guns. They want to get rid of the Second Amendment. And this is where people will say, "Oh, you're pro gun," or "Oh, you're pro." It's like, come on, man. We're talking about kids here. This is inappropriate. And there's a way to fix this. And where I start to like raise my eyebrows, why are we not fixing it? So
Yeah,
you mean to tell me you're that incapable as a leader, as a politician, as somebody who's a statesman, an attorney, local officials? You're that incapable of putting this together? No, there might be some red tape, but come on, guys.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
because
there's no question. There's no question that those six people died. The way
yeah,
it was happened, the way it was allowed to happen, is concerning to me. Just
yeah,
as an observer, it's
yeah.
mind-boggling, honestly.
I
As
mean
you see the
because
indictment, if you see the indictment of our last president, the killing of kids and the publicization of it in our local schools, um, our banks collapsing, I think to myself, wow, who's in charge?
apparently it ain't the motherfuckers. Apparently it ain't the motherfuckers in the White House.
It better not be. That motherfucker can't even walk up the stairs.
Yeah, but my thing is this. You know, um, it shouldn't take Congress to actually really pass a law to actually really protect these kids. Now, if you don't
I
want,
guess you could do it state level with National Guard, technically.
yeah, now, but even then, if you know, if say they'll be like, with some of the parents will say, well, we don't want to scare the kids, and say, oh, like, okay, okay, we can counter that, right? We can have like a QRF, quick reaction force, where that you know that security is there, right? You ain't necessarily got to see them, but just know that they there, and their job is to watch the cameras. See any, I mean, put like this, because you, and again, if you work at a school, right, then we know what type of car that you drive. And then if you come pick your kids up from school, guess what? The teachers, they know what type of car you drive, because I pick up my granddaughter. I don't pick her up every day, but when I do pick her up, the teachers are out there. They recognize the car. They recognize me. And once the recognition, the facial recognition, if that's what the fuck you want to call it, they see me, they see the car, they call my granddaughter out, and then everything is good, right? So, so it's not like that. It's not like that. This shit can't happen. This shit can happen. It's just that, do they want it to happen?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean,
It's a good question.
because if think about it, when I can tell you some shit that happened before Columbine, right? 1957, Little Rock Central High School, when the first black 9 kids walked on that campus. The National
Right.
Guard was there, right? To make sure that shit didn't, if shit went down, they was there. And then in 1990, my first year at Little Rock Central High School, when the riots broke out, right? I was there when that shit happened. And we had security then, right? That was in 1990. The Columbine shit didn't happen to what? Maybe what? 10 years later, if that. So,
Right.
so again, from 1957 to 1990, right? And so security, at least here in Little Rock, Arkansas, this security has always been in place. So it's not like that you can avoid shit. This shit can be avoided. And I'm just
Yeah.
gonna just come here and say it. They want the shit to happen.
Hey, we're gonna put the cap on the pin right there because I'm about to go eat dinner. And here's the thing. That's a perfect place to leave it because what it does is leave a cliffhanger, dot, 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 for the next episode, which I know you got to enjoy your birthday tomorrow and whatnot, but I'll hit you up tomorrow as well. But let's schedule something else and pick it up right from there
Okay.
because there's a bigger conversation to be had on that because we're going to talk for hours on that shit because that goes deep. People have a short memory, but that goes deep. And let's cap it right there. And when do you think you want to do it again?
Well, like I said, well, tomorrow.
We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline.
Okay, then. So, but yeah, man, we'll cap it off, and hopefully that we get Super Smooth in there on this as well.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. We'll coordinate it, and I'm feeling better now, man. I've been sick as a motherfucker, but I'm feeling better now, and we'll get it there. And man, this is a big conversation, and the way you just ended, just begun the next chapter because that's the bigger picture. Because when you start talking about false flags and the timeline and everything that's going on, we're gonna get into it. So that's just a little cliffhanger for, eventually one day when these people are listening to this. This is one of those conversations it's important, and it's not only is it informative, but it's entertaining. And at the end of the day, we hope it's constructive. And yeah, we'll talk offline. And most importantly, I hope you enjoy your birthday. But I'll hit you up tomorrow. Make no mistake.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, brother, man. Always good to talk to you.
All right, then. I'll talk to you.
All right. Peace.
All right, peace. All right, y'all. Well, y'all heard it, and it is what it is. It's how I feel, and for the most part, I'm reminded of what the late great comedian Richard Pryor said in his when he was doing his Mudbone character, right? He said, listen, always go and talk to the old people because they know something. He said, you don't get to be old being no fool, right? And so, like for me, like I said, I'm 50 years old. I will be 50 years old here in about 5 hours and some change, right? So my whole deal is this: I've been around long enough where that I can actually really say, hey, look, I can see bullshit. I can look at it and I can be actually really say, okay, well, is it genuine or is it bullshit, right? Or if for those y'all that don't know, y'all remember the Memorex commercials? They said, is it live or is it Memorex? Well, just note that a lot of this shit that y'all are looking at, regardless of what the fuck is going on right now, A lot of y'all are looking at Memorex material. I'm going to say it again. A lot of y'all are looking at Memorex material. And it looked live to y'all. Right? So, and until y'all realize that, y'all will continue to look at Memorex thinking that it's live material. So, with that being said, hey, guess what? Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell Big Dad, tell Big Bertha, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your papa, motherfucker next door across the street by the corner, Paulus Harris, aka the crazy uncle. Till next time.